Hello, welcome back to another video feature of the Immersive Worlds Handbook. Just behind me is the U.S. Pavilion. I'm going to take you inside and give you a look at the U.S.'s entry at the Expo 2015 Milan. So as we see the entrance to the U.S.'s pavilion, I want to begin the video feature here by focusing on the app that is provided for guests who wish to use it as part of their pavilion experience. So here's my reflection on the app for the U.S. Pavilion. Okay, and as I'm working on my video on the USA Pavilion, it occurred to me I haven't focused enough on the way that social media and app technology, mobile app technology, has been incorporated in the World Expo. So I wanted to focus on the USA's app and relate that to this video, and be also sure to check out an additional video feature I'm doing just on the use of social media and mobile technology at World Expo 2015. So let's take a look here, and I'll just try to position the camera here, the second camera, so you can get some views of the app here. So basically, like any app, not just an Expo app, you have all the choices here available to you, ranging from looking at what's new, which has a lot of things like the Twitter feeds and information of that sort. Also some information about the pavilion itself. So this typically focuses on the idea behind the pavilion. It discusses a little bit here the vertical farming technology, which I think is one of the key aspects of design that you see. Also talking about the wood that's repurposed from the Coney Island Boardwalk, and discusses some of the plants and so forth. There's a map included, and this has the Expo map here, and then shows you the relationship to the U.S. Pavilion, and then the U.S. Pavilion itself, it has a basic map then of the pavilion. You can click on exhibits, and this then shows you the four main features, ranging from the vertical farm to some of the boardwalk information. You can click on see the exhibits as well, and this will tell you a little bit more about the purposes here. And you can, in some cases, click and, as you can see here, get more information. This just takes you to the Expo website, and specifically to the U.S. Pavilion's web area. Let me go back to the app. Okay, so let's say we were on exhibits. Again, you can click on the Foodscape exhibits, get more information, and then a big deal was the food truck exhibit, which I had a chance to go to as well, and they had a lot of American street food and food trucks, which of course is a big thing in many parts of the United States. And I heard that that was one of the most popular food destinations at the Expo. You could also then click on schedule of events for each day. They'll have information about the events. You can also have your own events marked here and choose those. And then you can click on the current Instagram feeds, Twitter feeds, and Facebook feeds as well. And this shows you some of that here. These look to be the official feed photos, I would imagine, since they're so nice, well done, very colorful and so forth. And we can go back to the app again one more time. And yeah, that's basically it. And some of the other apps I'm going to feature, say, in my actual app video, you'll see are even more sophisticated and allow you to interact with the on-site information, QR codes, other ways of allowing the guest to bring more to his or her experience. So certainly what we see in the U.S. is part of, I think, the tendency, the trend in the World Expo to move more towards interactive technologies that allow the guest on-site and off-site to interact with what's happening at the Expo. And in other work, I've called this the life space tendency, which suggests that you can learn more about or interact more with the narratives of the space that you're considering before and after your visit, in this case to the Expo in 2015. So we can go back then and look at some additional footage that I took on site here at the US Pavilion. So certainly one of the hits at the Expo in Milan has been the Food Truck Nation, the American food trucks. And I apologize here for this blurry photo. It's actually the only photo I have of it. But I wanted to use this as a reflection on an experience I had. It was maybe 6 p.m. in the evening, and I was very hungry, and I was way at this end of the Expo. If you know, this is the opposite of the basically the main entrance, and so it's a long ways back from the front, and I was kind of indecisive, like what should I eat. I was very hungry at the moment, and I thought I just want a taste of home, something we all get when we're traveling. So I thought, well, let me just jump in and try Food Truck Nation. So I ended up getting a hamburger, as you'll see here in a second, and also a kale salad. And I think it was one of these things where I thought, I want a taste of home, I want to experience this, and I have to say the burger was really good and very satisfying. And did it seem like it was American? I guess so. I mean, you know, a lot of the workers were Italian, so you get this interesting melange of cultures and languages at the Expo. But the curious thing became this kale salad here, which was your typical kale salad with pecans and cranberries and sort of a sweet dressing. But it just wasn't right. It was one of those moments where I'm eating the kale salad and I thought, okay, I really want a green salad. I had been spending a lot of time up to this point in Austria and hadn't had a lot of green vegetables, and certainly not a kale salad. And I was dreaming of the optimal American kale salad, and sure enough, it wasn't optimal. I ended up eating it, but it just wasn't quite right. And as I was eating it and now reflecting upon this whole experience, I was thinking to myself, how strange it is that we often have an experience like this, and how we often seek out something that is thematic. In this case, it's the American food truck, and we think it's going to satisfy the experience, the nostalgia, the taste of home. And in some cases it does with the hamburger, in other cases it doesn't with the kale salad. So I wanted to offer that reflection to you, since I found it a little postmodern, seeking out American food at an American-themed Expo Pavilion while in Italy, away from my home country, which is the United States. Okay, now going back to the Expo itself, I wanted to show you some of the architecture. And again, I think the food truck theme was carried through not just in the food area, but also in the main expo space here at the pavilion. You could see the vertical gardens, which got a lot of attention in the press. And one of the points about the vertical gardens was that they were actually harvesting some of the crops, the herbs, the plants, and using them in some of the dishes that were being served in the expo restaurant. So I'm not entirely sure which ones, but I had read about that fact. And of course, Israel was another pavilion entry that also had this use of vertical gardens. Very captivating. I think very interesting, and just captivating architecturally. And I think the exterior was probably one of my favorite things about the U.S. Expo space here. Also kind of cool, being a Coney Island aficionado, was seeing the Coney Island boardwalk, pieces of that laid out here, so bringing that sense of Americana with all the mana of Coney Island here. And you can also see the sort of quintessential American sign here is also set up, roadside sign that you would probably see through so many parts of the United States. You also see some of the misters here as well. It's a very inviting space, I think you can see, as far as this concept of the truck, and you walk into the back of it. Very inviting space. And then as you go in, one of the curious things was there was this official presence. You had the videos of President Barack Obama. You also had on the left there other videos of Secretary of State John Kerry. So there was definitely an official presence here in terms of some of the messages. And the bottom floor of the space was, I would say, rather informal. Now upstairs, I'll show you here in a second. You're going to see there's a seminar going on at the time, talking about farmers markets. So let's have a listen.
Particularly depending on where you live, on what's offered, but the farmers markets are opening all over America. And food trucks are bringing new ideas into small towns that before were kind of home of great pie and fried chicken and meatloaf and really sort of homey foods, excellently prepared.
Okay, and as I take a look at some of the views here from the top of the pavilion, I have to say, I thought it was kind of cool. There were food demonstrations, but I thought having this philosophical discussion of the American farmers market was a cool touch. I don't think there were enough opportunities for lectures or things of that sort. So I was especially happy to see this as part of the American Food Pavilion. I thought it brought a nice touch, and it brought some of that pedagogy, which is always important at a World Expo, to the guest in terms of trying to teach him or her something about local food customs and the culture that you're portraying. So a nice inclusion here at the US's Pavilion. Hope you enjoyed this video feature here at Expo 2015. Please come back for additional video features of the Immersive Worlds Handbook.